Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in. Check out your boy, V Farm. Thinking right out here in the lab where I do what I do for you. I got a nice little lesson for you today. Let's do what we do. Rightism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. The message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receiving them. I appreciate you. Numbers is good. Let's rock. Right thinking mission, and that's what I'm on, is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. I give you lessons every day so you can do just that. They're geared to get you knowledge of self so you can know thyself. Let's go. I asked the question, do you know you? It's rhetorical, but if you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you out with that. That's what I do for you. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know. It's okay. They're spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here with knowledge of self to wake you up to yourself. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons, they reside in you. Right thinkers. Know thyself. And to my yacht, be true. Again, where we at? Serpent power. Now, what I found out through my studies and reading, that the seven chakras, serpent power, energy centers, whatever you want to call them, it pretty much coincides with the 7 degrees of masonry. So I'm gonna flip flop a little bit, give you a little bit of this, a little bit of that, to show you how they do intermingle. But I get the purpose, and the purpose is how to attain purity of heart. Oh, excuse me, bad neck. I can't do a whole bunch of movements. Sorry about that. But it is the reflection on the virtues that are to be cultivated in the spiritual energy centers. That means you have to learn each one at every level, master it, just like you had to do in Masonic order. I'm going through it. I'm saying, oh, I got this. Is going to be fun. So, right thinkers, let's talk about how to attain purity of heart. The next lesson would be, where does true happiness come from? I'm gonna tell you something. It should be. I'll show you where true happiness comes from. Okay, so let's go with the attainment of heart, purity of heart first. Now, the goal and the purpose of serpent power, aka right thing philosophy, that's what we practice, is to unlock the hidden potential of every human being, which is being blocked by what? Various psycho spiritual forms of ignorance and, more important, negative feelings and thoughts. The following diagram I'm about to go over will show the main cycle spiritual elements, obstacles, and what you have to overcome to master them to reach the level of what? Psycho spiritual consciousness, aka they call it transcendence enlightenment. Means you're gonna know about yourself at a higher level. I'm gonna show you. Let's go. The first level, or we call it the first degree, right? Your goals, your concerns are fear of death. Ignorant people think they're going to die. So that's the first fear. Next one is survival concerns, or where will my next meal come from? Other civilizations, we was travelers, and we was stop and eat where we at and keep on going, kept it moving. We were hunter gatherers, they called them. So back then, that's what the program was about, and that's fine. But then the next level, number two, second degree, it may see you be a fellow craft. But this is about gross sexual desire. You're starting to figure out that opposite, y'all can get together and have some fun. Okay, so your desires are starting to kick in. Now you're becoming productive, raising up your level of understanding about yourself. These are all qualities that you have to overcome, cultivate if it's good, overcome if it's negative, to be your best self. At the third level, what happens? You have desires for worldly attainments and the desire to what? Control others through greed, hatred, jealousy. Sound like the ego, don't it? But he haven't kicked in yet, but he's right around the bend. These are the three levels that animals live on. That's why I didn't bring the ego in. Why? Because these are all animalistic functions to survive on, to live with. The fourth level, there you go. And in Masons, you become a master Mason, the third degree of Masonry. And through the work that you do there, you're really not a master Mason yet, but there, you get the title, you get the wear, but you have to raise your consciousness again. The fourth level, you are attached, here we go, to your egoistic love of yourself. That's when the ego kicks in. Now it's all about me. Never good, okay? You got to control that. Now, the fourth level, okay, we're going to talk about you have what they call lack of control of getting carried away with what? Your whims. Your thought process is not in check. Why? You're not practicing meditation. Obviously, that ain't on here. Okay, so you're really going through the motions of life, not really knowing what you're doing haphazardly. There's no rhyme or reason, and that's never a good thing. Watch this. So you go by your whims and of your thought, which is mostly negative, and the senses. You want to feel, touch. They call them carnal, or the physical, or the flesh, the five senses. Okay, we live off that level. That's understandable, but you got to again raise it up. At the fifth level, you're showing lack of concentration, meaning no meditation time, okay, no focus on the higher self, lack of intellectual ability that's required to what? Think right. If you're ignorant and you just willy-nilly, you're not a right thinker. I know you cannot think, call yourself a right thinker when you're not thinking right. And watch this. Discover what? The true meaning of your life, yourself. The intellect. Your intellect is clouded over what? Egoistic desires and feelings of what? Delusions about the world. They think this is it. They want whatever they can get. They live for what? Stuff, material stuff. That's what the next lesson is going to be on happiness. So that's why I'm setting you up for that. And these are things that if you don't have in check, you won't reach the level of transcendence, enlightenment, when you sure won't reach happiness. Watch this. Now at the sixth level, you have the seventh level, sorry. You have what? The obstacle now with this level is what? Your ego. Mm-hmm. You think you are what? Mortal. I tell you, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And if you're ignorant of that fact, you think you're mortal and you're going to die. That's why you live in fear of what? Dying, death. If you have knowledge of self and you're right thinker, you know that death is a part of life, the next phase of life. Simple. That's what having knowledge of self does. And it gives you what? The transcendence, enlightenment. You know there's something else. It ain't the end when this body dies. That's the difference with having knowledge of self. I asked a question, one of my students. If you knew you couldn't die, would you still be scared of death? No, it's simple. If you know you are immortal, death is not a fear. You don't fear death. Why? Death is false evidence appearing real. The body will die. That's the false evidence. But what's inside the body don't. That's the part that you miss. And if you're ignorant of that, you think death is the end. That's why. Let me move on with the lesson. I see the time running. So watch this. Now the final diagram I just gave you about the virtuous qualities that you have to overcome for each center, energy center as you go up. I told you it took a year for each chakra to be mastered in India. They made sure you knew every aspect of the first chakra. When I was a teacher, instructor, dean of instruction, Masonic order, I'm not giving you nothing until you show me you mastered the first degree of what I gave you or into apprenticeship. Come in and learn and do work. Again, give yourself a service. That's funny. That's what you come as an apprentice. You come to learn. You ready to give up the service and look for something in return. if that's going to happen. But independence don't get nothing in turn except knowledge. So that's the key. That's the whole part. So when you traveling, note that the centers from 1 to 3 pretty much was yeah, animalistic, yeah, beastly nature. Why? Animals function on that level. This is why it's signified. Watch this. And it's separated by the horizontal lines. And that, watch this. The next to these is the word Maya is written. This signifies what? That those people, watch this, those people, right thinkers, who are the psycho-spiritual consciousness who reach this level between 1 and 3 are the people who have what? Have not reached maturity. Third level, you're gonna get eaten by a man. Why? He bites from 4 up. He bites from 3 down. And if you made 3, that means you haven't reached what? The maturity level for what? Self-determination that require rules and regulations that's imposed on you by society to guide what? Them to what? The right on the right path, which promotes self-development, sexual sublimation, and self-control. Self-mastery is what the end result for those things if they are practiced and mastered. The whole key is to know thyself, and these are the things that you have to know to do just that. Watch this. Now they must be what? Pay attention right there, because they must be taught. They must be taught. You don't gain it on your own. You are taught. The injunction of who? Maya. And what happened? Now they must be what? Shown. I do this every day. I show it to you every day. The wisdom of what? Following these principles will bring result. So if you like what I do, I got it from doing this. I didn't make it up. So understand that. And let me wrap it up with those who have gained control, right thinkers, over your first 3 psycho spiritual consciousness energy centers will what? Will be able now to discover a new, deeper essence of their own existence as they what? Move beyond the animal beastly consciousness, okay, of survival and sexual pleasures and self gratification. Otherwise, what happened? They will. You ready? Here we go. This is just what it is. They will remain in the horizontal movement, okay, through life, which will now lead to, you ready? Pain, sorrow, and disappointments, as well as the development of what? Negative karmic basics for, you ready? Reincarnation. Meaning, if you don't learn a lesson, you're going to be reincarnated. So by not doing that, you set yourself up for just that. Because this is what it says. No one reaches the beneficent West, unless what? Their heart is righteous by what? Living Mayat. There is no distinction. Here we go. There is no distinction made between the inferior, less fortunate, or the superior, one who got better, more person. It only matters what? That the one is found faultless, blameless, when the balances and the 2 ways stand before who? The Lord of eternity. No one is free from this reckoning. Thought, in the baboon concept, holds the balances to count each one according to what they have done upon earth. You judge by your deeds, not your needs, or the things that you think is important. No. What you do for somebody else lets you know what kind of person you are. And that says it all in a nutshell. So now, okay, now that's the first lesson. I got your double banger today. So I got another lesson. The title is, I'm going to tell you where true happiness comes from. Okay, here we go. In reality, happiness does not and cannot come from objects of the world that can be acquired or from activities in the world that can be performed. So anything outside of you cannot give you happiness. It can only come from within. Even actions that seem to be pleasurable in life cannot be considered what? As a source of happiness from a philosophical point of view. Why? Because all activities are what? Relative to something cause and effect. This means what? That one activity is pleasurable. Remember that? For one person, and guess what? Painful for another. That's duality. That's what. Here we are. What? That leads to what? The realization that it is not the activity itself that holds the happiness, but you, the individual doer who is performing the action and assigning a value to it, which she or he has learned from what? Society to what? Assign. Do something for something. Don't do nothing for nothing. He didn't give nothing away. If he gave you something, he got something from you. I'm just saying. That's how he lived. That was his way of life. That was what he did. That's the kind of people that do that. Understand that? And watch this. So therefore, if it was learned, again, if you are to learn that going out to a party is supposed to be fun, and then what? Because it's an activity, everybody do it, would be pursued as what? A source of happiness. It's just something that's gonna, for that moment, make you happy. And understand that's what we're trying to tell you. We ain't saying that don't do it, but understand it. Moderation, equanimity, understanding purpose and reason. If I'm doing something, I know why I'm doing it. I'm just saying. So here, watch this. Your action is performed, and this in the pursuit of what? The fruits of that action. You want results for that action. And for a party is what? A good time, enjoy yourself. Okay, that's fine. Okay. But in the form of what? Happiness. A result is what? Desired from the action. However, watch this. There are what? Several negative philosophical factors I just told you about. Watch this, which will arise that will what? Not allow true happiness to manifest through objects, things, and more important, activities. Even if they're of the present, it don't make a difference. Please understand that. Sorry about that. But yeah, the first is that what? Relentless pursuit of what? The action which renders the mind restless and agitated. You always want something. You always, when I was, never forget, Saturday night, when I was young, I got to go party. I got to go get in the mix. That's what it's all about, and that's understandable. Okay. But and if I didn't, I'm not a happy camper. So we know that. And most children get over being disappointed early. Why? Because it's gonna happen through life. It's a phase that you gotta go through and deal with it. But it's hard when you want something and it don't happen, but you gotta get used to understanding being disappointed. And the second is what? That if that activity is not possible, there you go, there will be depression in the mind. That's what I just try to explain to you. Don't let that get you to that point where all of a sudden now you went from happy and joy to what? Depressed and sad. That's the roller coaster. That's the emotional roller coaster. Control the emotion. Don't get too high up. Don't get too low down. Just, again, flatline. That's the best part about this knowledge of self. It keeps you level. You see me doing this to myself? Calm down, calm down. Yeah, I get excited. So you got to control that emotion. That's the passion. Understand that. Okay. But if that activity is throttled by some outside force, meaning that something or someone prevented you from performing that, achieving that object or that activity, like going out partying, you saw it as what? As a source of unhappiness. Why? Because you develop anger towards it, and if by chance you succeed in achieving what? The object of your activity, you become what? Elated. Yeah, if I get it, oh, you're excited. When you let activity control you, that's what you're going to ride, that roller coaster of life. And watch this. A lot of people live it. Okay, but watch this. And this will what? Cause greed in the mind. You will want what? Now, here we go. When you start satisfying the ego self, this is what's going to happen. You will want more and more of what? What feels good. What made you happy? That activity. For some, drinking, smoking, fornicating, watching porn, whatever it is, you're going to want more. And you're never going to stop. That's causing addiction. Now, you can't do without it. So you think. Again, it's all mental. But when you are not able to get more. Here you go. You're not able to get more. Like a junkie can't get more drugs. In a particular time, you will become depressed and you will be disappointed. Again, that's that phase. And under these conditions, here you go, a constant dependency. You don't want to have nothing outside yourself that you depend on to survive with, outside of breathing air. When you have a constant dependency on outside activities and worldly objects, what happens? It develops into what? The mind, which will now not allow for what? Peace and contentment. Why? Because it's agitated, because it's always in search, it's always wanting something that it don't have. And by not getting it, it's disappointed. Now it's agitated about that. See where I'm going with this? Following now? Ain't none of this gonna get you happy, but we get to the happy part right now. Watch this. Now, even though it is illogical to pursue worldly activities, which cause you pain in life, people are what? Constantly acting against their own interests as they what? Engage in actions and effort to what? Gain happiness. Looking for happiness in all the wrong places and getting all the wrong things, substituting it for what you believe to be happy. Watch this. Now, why in reality, here we go, you are really enhancing what? The probability of what? Encountering what? More pain later on. See? People often act and shortly what? Regret what they have done. When you don't think before you act, you're going to regret that action. You react out of emotion. That first reaction, you going to commit something wrong that you're going to regret. You're going to make a mistake, and you're going to have to pay for that. Be it physical, mental, whatever it is, you're going to have to be responsible for that action. So it's always better to think first and act second, and you that way, no regrets, no apologies. Sometimes what people know, even at the time of that action, watch this, that they are what? Wrong. Sorry about that. But when you know it's wrong, you do it, you are a devil. Moving on. That's get the concept of devil. That's what the devil is, in opposition to God. Simple. Yet, watch this. They are unable to what? Stop themselves. That's an addiction. That's an addiction. Excuse me. This is because when the mind is controlled by what? Its physical desires, ignorance, and expectations, and the intellect, the light of reason is what? Is clouded and dull. If anything, just ain't being acted on. Why? You doing you. However, we get to the good part. When the mind is controlled, there you go, right thinkers, by what? Intellect, knowledge of self, then it is not possible to be what? Led astray, bamboozled, tricked on, due to what? Some fantasies and illusions of somebody else's mind. If I know what I know, you can't tell me nothing. You can, whatever. But if I know it, I ain't worried about you. Why? Because I already know it. I don't need nothing. I don't need affirmations or confirmation from somebody outside of myself when it's something I know about myself. You can criticize me, constructive criticism, knock yourself out, but that ain't gonna change what I know about myself. So watch this. Now, when you, the individual, is guided, watch this, by what? Your intellect. Then only you're also, and you lead, what, excuse me, when you led by your intellect, then only right actions can be performed. This is the part I'm about to like right here. Now, no matter what the negative situation or ideas arise in the mind, you're going to do what's right. That's what Mayat represents, and that's godly. Now, such a person, right thinker, what happened? Cannot be deluded into negative action. You're not going to get me to do something wrong that I know is wrong. I'm not doing that. Okay? When negative actions, excuse me, actions which what? Lead to future pain and disappointment are not performed, what happened? Then unhappiness cannot exist. Why? Because thus a person who lives according to the teachings of non-doership without desires or expectations. Hold on, dude. I'll be right with you. I'm taping for the future results of their action, meaning we give selfless service. Why? That's what's godly, and that's what my philosophy teaches you. Now, in living a life of what? Perpetual peace and happiness is present when you living right, doing right, and being your best self. That's the only way to get happiness. That's where happiness lies. Wrapping it up for you. Thus, true peace and true peace and what? Inner fulfillment will never come through what? Pursuits of actions when when there's an expectation or desires for the fruits of that action. Meaning if you do it to get something for it, you're not doing it for the right reasons. That's selfish. The belief in objects or worldly activities as source of happiness is therefore seen as what? A state of mind of ignorance. Dun 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 dun. Egoistic, wherein you, the individual, is what? Caught up in your own illusion, fantasies, and fanciful notions of the mind. But, however, happiness and peace can arise when spontaneously. What? How? When there is an attitude of what? Detachment and dispassion towards what? Objects and situations in life. Don't get attached to a whole bunch of nonsense. It shouldn't sway you one way or another. If actions are performed with the idea of discovering peace within, based on the understanding of the philosophy outlined above, for the sake of what? The betterment of who? Society. That means everybody benefits. Then these actions will the actions that you have, the effort in purifying, the heart of each individual, your desires and expectations will what? Will dwindle, while the inner fulfillment and awareness of the present moment will what? Increase. Living in the moment. There will be greater and greater self-discovery of peace where within, and self-discovery of what is truly stable and unchanging within what, as opposed to the mind and the outer world, which are what? Constantly changing and so unpredictable. We can't predict the future. We can only live in the now. That's the lesson. I hope you enjoy it. And party, right thinkers, may you let it be 100 and me 100 minus a day. So I never knew that right thinkers like you have passed away.